Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We're going to jump into the queue here and go see what's on. Mythic versus the system. Sure, why not? That is a lot of walls. What has happened? Your opponent only has like 4 attack. Why do you need so many walls? Trying to set up for an Omega, or yeah, an Omega Splitter, I guess, maybe? I don't know how successful that would be. I mean, you can buy it, but is it really that worth doing this to yourself? Oh! Ah! Actually, I don't know. With an Omega, you're only attacking for 5, 6... Well, okay, 13's kind of a lot. I think that Tia might get there. Alright, we got Andreas, a very strong player. Base plus 9, 60 seconds. Well, all the really slow stuff in this set is punished by Amparilla. Plasma Fire might be good against Amparilla, because there's not a lot of defense Amparilla has going for it. And you can even get like Cryos. Yeah. I mean, Sinestra's good, but have you ever had a Plasma Fire? Because, like, you know, Sinestra's a more efficient unit, I think, than Plasma Fire, but you have access to much worse defensive tech if you do that. And I think that a Plasma Fire can threaten, you know, Plasma plus Cryos threatens enough that none of the really, really good red stuff gets off the ground. I think Gauss Fab and Defense Grid are right out. There's just, those lose to either Sinestra or Plasma Fire or Ampo. Like, I don't know. Defense Grid loses probably not to Plasma, but to Ampo certainly, even with Steel Forge. This third engineer troubles me. Why are we doing this? What, I mean, like, okay, yeah, sure, Steel Forge is good for grid, but you still have to have bought, like, a lot of tech to get that. And if you do, Amparilla's great, right? So, like, what's the deal here? I think I need to respond with green because Sinestra and Plasma are both great, and, like, if opponent goes for something really slow like grid, then I still have time to get Ampo. And like having some green won't hurt for force fields or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to cut this and just like DA. No, I think I could get Plasmified if I do that. I don't know. I feel like I'm so sure what my opponent is doing is wrong, but I don't know what of the big attackers to go for. I guess I'm sort of headed towards Sinestra. I'll just throw in another Conduit because like Cryos are going to be pretty cool. And next turn I can go DDA and start buying good stuff. I didn't want to cut a drone for an Animus was the problem, and I didn't want to go blue. The Conduit feels bad, but I think it's fine. Okay, what are they heading for? Plasma Fires, I guess. Maybe Defense Grid? Who knows? I'm really tempted to go greedy here and just get 2 Tarsiers and then like follow up with Sinestra, Sinestra, Sinestra. But I'm a little bit worried about defending that. What if I got a Forge? I have 15 drones. That's not really enough to Sinestra wall regularly. I think that's a bit too much. I could get a Gauss Cannon. Kind of poke them into building a wall, which they were probably going to do anyway. I could just get more drones. I think 1 Gauss Cannon's fine. Well, if I get a Gauss Cannon, I'm not getting 3 Sinestras in a row, but maybe that was too ambitious to begin with. Maybe what I need is Amparillas. This keeps my options open, which is kind of nice. I can like TTA next turn if I want, and then spend all my green on Cryos instead. Depending on like what tech they go for here. Okay, they want the grid, it seems. So I think we want, in fact, Amparilla against this, not Sinestra. And Cryo Rays will make up the rest of our assault. Okay, Plasma Fire. Well, we have Rhinos, but... I don't know, are you clicking the Forge now, I guess? Ooh. I'm just a tiny bit short of defending the Amparilla easily, actually. Right? Like, I can't build a Rhino and a Force Field. I have to do this. I'm gonna be in really, really sad shape in a moment, I think. Yeah, I guess the problem is that Steel Forge leaves open the possibility of grid or plasmas. That's kind of an issue for me. This is extremely greedy. But I have enough green that I feel like I can maybe do this. Wow! Absorbing on plasma. I mean, I guess if it ever gets to the point where plasma health matters, they're gonna be in sad shape, so I guess they should just assume it won't happen. This is pretty scary. I was worried about getting plasmified, but... really need all these, I think. I should have maybe gotten them earlier so I could do this more times. Oof. I mean, this lets them breach for a Tarsier if they click with everything. It's kind of a problem. I don't know, this feels pretty bad too, of course. I think they can just hold enough splitters to win now. Maybe not. If I ever get through to the plasma, I'm gonna be much happier, I think. I think you should just hold another splitter, right? Well, maybe this gambit's worth offering. No, of course not. Wow. Okay, I mean, can I take this? Maybe I just can't take it. This lets them breach 2 Tarsiers, but they don't get the Ampo. On the other hand, this gives them no breach, and then I'm coming in for 16 against not a lot of defense. I think this is probably better. I'll even be able to force field next turn. Once. Oh, twice. Hang on. Okay, so they're actually only attacking for, like, not a lot right now. I think this is better than taking out the cryos, but I could be wrong. They're attacking for 3, 4, and they have 3 freeze. So this is actually 2 freeze. So this is defended. Yeah, I think I win. Yeah, freeze me all you want. Nice. I wasn't expecting to get a win against Andreas. This was an interesting way to get it. I predicted that Ampo would have trouble against Plasma Fires, and that Grid would have trouble against Ampo. But by giving myself access to green as well, I don't know, we both sort of had kind of a dual threat thing going, where... Like, notice how long I went before actually committing to anything, right? I'm committed to red-green, but that doesn't actually say much. You could get Sinestras, you could get Sentinels, I mean, not much of a threat, but... And you could get, like, Ampo plus Cryos with all this green. I think my opponent thought that Sinestras were coming for sure. I don't know, maybe not. He probably knows better, right? These first 3 Cryo Rays may be a little bit short-sighted, actually. It was cool to get 2 extra damage in, but it made it harder to freeze defense grid as many times as I wanted to. Right, like how many total charges of Cryo Ray are there in the game? Right, there are 30. To freeze a defense grid 3 times, you need 27 of them. And that's the most freezing of it you can ever do. with cryo rays, right? 27. So I guess I can afford to waste 3? Exactly 3? What happened? Did I actually freeze defense grid 3 times, or did I have to stop a time early? I froze it on 7, I froze it on 6, I froze it on 5. No, I killed it! Ah. Yeah. Yeah, so I had, like, suppose that the defense grid hadn't died. It would now be online permanently because I just have, like, 6 charges. Well. Yeah, 6 charges. Why 6? Also, I think I froze wrong. I was just so excited to get a breach. I should obviously have just frozen this wall instead of this force field and this drone. I was just so excited. So that was a definite mistake. But so I bought every single cryo in the deck, right? And I froze grid on 7. I froze it on 6. And I could have frozen it on 5. Right? And if I had, I would have had 6 charges left. Oh my god. I've understood the problem. Defense grid has 7 health, not 9. I don't know why. I came up with 27. Like 7 times 3 is 27. But it's obviously not. Okay, great. So you can freeze defense grid 4 times using all the cryos in the deck. But you can't afford to freeze a single wall even once if you do that. And you also have to be a little bit careful. Like, you can't just buy 7 cryos, use them 3 times, then buy 3 more, right? You have to get... you have to get the extra cryos when... Like, I'd have to get them here to make sure I could actually spread out all my freeze, right? Because you can't afford to blow... Well... Yeah. You need to have these ones lying around at 1 for a while. Anyway, so point is, freezing this wall was a little short-sighted, and it put some pressure on, and that was kind of cool. But maybe not worthwhile. Also, this engineer maybe not great. Oh wait, no. When was the turn that here? I couldn't quite defend the Emperilla, right? While also buying a Rhino. So if you go back to this turn, I could maybe cut a drone. Looking at, like, I saw 18, I was like, yeah, okay, Ampo Rhino. But that's actually, like, no good at all, right? I need a couple more bucks for force fields or something. So I think cutting this drone... would have been pretty great, because then I could do this and I'd have $2 left for a force field. That would have been a big improvement also, getting this Rhino in to actually absorb. Yeah. By the way, Plasma Fire health did end up mattering a little. Although, I don't know, the game was pretty over by then, so maybe not. Yeah, and actually what mattered way more was how much defense they had up front. If they'd lost 1 more defense to absorb on Splitter instead of on Plasma, the Plasma would have 3 more health, but they'd have 1 less health in blockers, and that would make this breach just that much easier for me. What a terrible freeze. I just, like, I don't know, I saw red, I just wanted blood, and I didn't care whose it was. It was clearly, like, it cost me a lot because they were able to turn that drone I gave them into a splitter. Like, wow, right? Pretty crazy. Or a force field, depending on your point of view. And, yeah, then we got him. Very good. Amparilla's OP, and like it's really hard to go for defense grid when your opponent can threaten Amparilla. My build, by the way, looks extremely awkward, doesn't it? Like floating a ton of green for a really long time, floating money, like what the hell was the point of this? And I think the point of this was like you pay a price to avoid committing. I talked about that earlier, right? I didn't want to commit to Amparilla or to Sinestra. And my opponent didn't really want to commit to Defense Grid or to Plasma Fires. So I don't know. As a result, I had to like buy stuff I might not want for a little while, float money. I don't know. Kind of a really cool game, I think. I'm happy to have won this, even though I saw at least 2 like clear blunders. I had the right overall idea, which was to threaten these 2 big units and buy whichever ones he gave me room for. Right, against like someone who didn't have a 3rd blue, but who had some other kind of attack-oriented stuff, I'd be more worried about like multiple Plasma Fires. And against that, I think I would prefer Sinestras to Ampo, which was why I had in mind the idea of like 2 Tarsiers and then many Sinestra. But opponent looked like they wanted a grid, and so something a bit slower like Amparilla was called for. They tried to compromise with Plasma Fire and then grid, but I'm not sure how great that really was. Anyway, I should stop talking. I'm just so pleased to have won. That's all. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.